So what happens when an exciting new project gives you a whole other project that you had no intention of tackling, but you know you have to do it? Hi, I'm Nico Waters, and welcome to the Boat Galley Podcast. I'm talking about project creep, yet again, this one in regards to our rudder. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Mantis Marine. Today's episode of the Boat Galley Podcast is sponsored by Mantis Marine, the marine accessory manufacturer that introduced the famed Mantis anchor, innovative ground tackle accessories, and a mini scuba line of equipment. They're having an awesome spring sale offering 20% off all merchandise from April 1st through April 9th, 2021. Please use the code HAPPYEASTER2021 at mantismarine.com. That's MANTUSMARINE.com. Yeah, project creep is definitely a real thing. Anybody who's ever worked on a boat understands you get into something and that leads to something else and something else and something else. I will say, though, that generally we all tend to have a pretty good idea of the great big projects that are needed, even if we weren't quite ready to tackle them on the front end. Sometimes, though, you get excited about a new project and you're working on it, and that leads you to an entire other huge project that you had no idea you needed to do. For us, that was the rudder. We're building a new wind vane, in large part because, I think in part because Jeremy really wants the challenge of building a new wind vane. We've had a monitor that works flawlessly and is an incredible piece of kit. It's a little bit bulky for our boat, and we wanted something that maybe looked a little sleeker. So we're going with a Mike Anderson freehand design that was actually built by Larry Pardee for his boat, Taliesin, which was designed by the same guy who designed the Bristol Channel Cutter. And Mike Anderson fine-tuned it specifically actually for these boats. If we had endless money, we would hire Mike to build one. He builds absolute pieces of art. But we bought the plans from him. He's incredibly helpful. And we're building our own freehand. So the freehand is a trim tab style self-steerer wind vane. And what it has as the main part of its backbone is it's got this nice bronze rod that goes, and it's held in place by these bronze castings. And the bronze rod goes down from the tip of the rudder, from above the tip of the rudder all the way down to the bottom. And there's a wooden vane that comes off the back of it. So it's kind of like an auxiliary rudder, sort of, if I'm explaining that at all. Jeremy built the models and sent them off to the foundry to be cast, and he's all excited about it. And he took the rudder off to be able to do that. And then he started to look at the rudder a lot more carefully. And he realized that the rudder, this gorgeous, huge, monstrous piece of mahogany bits put together, he realized that the rudder actually was warped. And, given how this is going to work, how we need that bronze rod to be straight and the pieces holding it to the rudder, we can't really have a warped rudder. We had no intention of doing anything with the rudder. And in fact, I think if we weren't building a new wind vane, we wouldn't be dealing with the rudder at all. Because we're building a vane, we needed to deal with a rudder. I will give you a quick update in that even though we thought at one point that we were going to have to build a new rudder, which would have been sad for all kinds of reasons, not the least of which is this rudder is gorgeous. It's mahogany and it's in great shape other than the warp that was there. But Jeremy was thinking for about a 24, 36 hour period that he was going to have to build a new rudder, which probably actually would have been faster than the amount of work that he's put into this rudder and reconstructing it. But he has managed to fix it. It's unwarped. It's now straight, and he's in the process of fiberglassing over it so that it holds its strength and its shape. There are times when being excited about a new project can unveil new projects you had no intention of doing. I guess it's all part of project creep. It's all part of doing a refit. And it's all part of just being aware that if you take on projects, you have to be willing to, or be prepped for, be ready for unexpected things that can be larger than you might have thought. So go in with your eyes wide open and open to the possibilities of lots of things needing to be done, even ones you never would have imagined. But once it's all done, we'll be out looking forward to sharing anchorages with you when we're not going to be worried about a warped rudder, because we will know that it is straight. Thank you so much for listening to the Boat Galley podcast. Have you subscribed? 2 of these come out every week. Tips, tricks, stories. If you have something you'd like us to talk about, drop us a note. Our emails are in the show notes. Have the most spectacular week.